Hello everyone, this is Jason from Primetime Aquatics. I'm super excited about this video because we are going to be updating a few of our tanks. The 20-gallon long right to the side of me over here is covered in blackbeard algae, and we need to get that tank cleaned up because we have some new inhabitants going in that tank. But the fish that are in there are going to be moving over to the 125 on the other side of the fish room. It's going to give them a little bit more space. We've got some new fish coming in there. I think it's going to be pretty awesome, so stay tuned. All right, everyone, this 20-gallon long is in some seriously bad shape. It looks horrible. It has been overrun with blackbeard algae. The fish are doing great. The peacock gudgeons you see in here, they're really old. They're going on 3 years old. We've got some gudgeons in here too. The water parameters are fine. There is no ammonia, there's no nitrites. The nitrates are under 20 parts per million. It just doesn't look very good. So what we have to do is we have to get these fish out. They're going to go into the 125. Then we're going to get our new fish in here, but we really have to do a good job of cleaning this thing out. The plants, unfortunately, they're just going to go in the garbage along with the substrate, that piece of wood. Even the sponge filter is going to be replaced with a fully cycled sponge filter from another tank, but this thing has to be completely cleaned out. I don't want to reintroduce blackbeard algae into our new setup, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and get this tank cleaned up. All right, everyone, so this is the 125. This is where we put the gudgeons. This is Iliodon wide-eye. This is also where the peacock gudgeons wound up. If you've been watching the channel for a while, you know that this tank has been set up a couple times already for different fish. Originally, it was set up for Geophagus weinmilleri. We wound up with a bacterial infection. It wiped out that entire colony, unfortunately. We treated the tank. I thought we had that problem fixed because there were some severums in here at the time and they were doing fine after we corrected everything. We removed the severums. We put in some Geophagus brasiliensis thinking that our problems were behind us. It turned out something was still in the tank because the Geophagus brasiliensis also wound up getting that same internal parasite. Very unfortunate. We lost all of those as well. Now, what we did to correct the problem was pretty extreme. We spent a lot of time with a lot of meds in this tank. All the fish were removed. The few plecos that we had were removed. We wound up putting a lot of meds in here, in some cases 4 or 5 times the recommended dose for a volume like this. We turned the temperatures up all the way to 94 degrees, and we let this tank sit just like that, constantly redosing the meds at 94 degrees. I'm surprised the plants even lived, but we left it that way for a couple weeks, and the idea was with no fish, with the extreme temperatures and the extreme meds, I'm pretty sure we wiped out whatever could have been in here. Now I will have to keep an eye on the cycle because I don't know what all these extreme antibiotics and antiprotozoals, and we used ick medication. I basically threw everything in the tank at extremely high concentrations, jacked up the temperature, and I'm hoping that we got rid of the parasite. I will be keeping an eye on any potential ammonia or nitrite issues just in case we wiped out some of the beneficial bacteria. I'm pretty sure we wiped out some of it. I seriously doubt we wiped out all of it just because we've still got some blackbeard algae. The plants are okay, so I don't think we're going to have an issue, but it's something I will be keeping an eye on. Now you're going to notice the peacock gudgeons in here, I've already mentioned this, they're really old. They're in some cases over 3 years old, and for a fish like this, that's a really old fish. So you're gonna see some bent spines, you're gonna see some fish that look skinny. They're just old, they're not sick, they're not diseased, they were eating fine in the other tank. But in our fish room, just because something is getting old, we don't get rid of it. These are our pets. These fish were born in this fish room, so I have a special connection with them. They're going to stay here, and hopefully they're going to die of old age in this fish room, but the last parts of their life are going to be living in luxury because they're going to be in this 125 with the gudgeons. The other thing that we have in this tank that's really cool is we have some Spanish rib newts. The boys had a couple of them in a 20 long for quite some time, and we wanted to give them a larger space, and I thought this would be a really cool tank for them to inhabit. And we will probably build the community of fish around the newts because I don't want any fish in here that's going to be nipping at them or picking at them. So we're going to let them go ahead. This is really going to be their home, and the fish we get beyond these, they're going to be fish that are compatible with the Spanish rib newts. Now, if you want to see more about these gudgeons, I did a fish room tour of Andrew Pierkowski's fish room. He is a gudgeon expert. He's got lots of different types. You can get more information about all different types of gudgeons in his fish room tour. I'll put that in the description below. They're a cooler water fish. The Spanish rib newts are a cooler water fish. The only issue that we have is our fish room. The temperatures stay fairly consistent, fairly constant. They're a little bit warmer probably than these gudgeons would prefer, but I think they're going to be okay. They've been okay in the fish room now for a long time. We've had them in a 20 long for quite some time, pretty much most of this year. The Spanish rib newts have been in this environment now for at least a year, year and a half, eating fine, not having any issues. We will add more fish to this tank at some point, but right now I'm kind of happy with the amount of activity that's going on. The gudgeons are very active swimmers, so to give them more space is pretty cool, and they're going to get bigger. This is one of the larger species of gudgeons. The peacock gudgeons, as I've said, they're older, they're not getting any larger. There's a lot of them. They are really past the point where they can breed. I tried to pull some out about 6 months ago and put them in various setups to get more of them, because we used to breed a lot of peacock gudgeons, but right now at their age, I just don't think they're capable of breeding anymore. The females don't have that same plumpness that they used to have back when they were younger, and we have actually what appears to be very few males left. I probably pulled 20 or 25 peacock gudgeons out of that 20 long. Now what we got to do next is we got to take a look at the 20 long and see what we're going to do there. So here's the 20 long. We got all the peacock gudgeons out, as I just mentioned. We've got all the gudgeons out. All the decorations are out. The sponge filter's out. This is what's left of the mess that we're dealing with. The sand in here right now is pool filter sand. We have moved away from pool filter sand only because it's just not, at least the sand we were using wasn't easy to clean. You can see that here. I'm going to go ahead and scrape this, make sure that all the blackbeard algae is off the glass, get the sand out, get this thing cleaned out so we can go ahead and get it re-scaped. All right, everyone. So here is a fresh start. We got all of the brown, nasty algae and the blackbeard algae, at least most of it out. I don't really see any more. All the nasty pool filter sand is out. And now we have this blank slate where we can begin aquascaping, but I brought in reinforcements. Joanna's here, say hello.
Hello.
And she's going to go ahead and do all the aquascaping stuff because she's got more patience for this than I do. And it'll probably wind up looking a little better than what I would do. So,
wow.
All right, it's going to look a lot better than what I would do. So let's see how she does. So this is what Joanna did at the 20 long. You saw it before with all that nasty blackbeard algae everywhere, and we had the pool filter standing there and that one piece of driftwood that was looking pretty bad. And here we are. I think we have a drastic improvement over what we had before. So here we got some rocks. This actually came from one of our local pet stores. I really like the patterning. I like the way it all fit together. Really cool. The plants that you see, these are crypts that we got from a Greenwater meeting a while back. I think they're going to do well in this setup. We just have one little tiny Hydro 2 sponge filter. Will be more than enough for this tank. The inhabitants, I am really happy about. We have some Julidochromis ornatus. These are really pretty fish with the black and the yellow and kind of that lighter yellow stripes. I like them a lot. They remind me of the Mbuna, the ornatus, Melanochromis ornatus. Those fish are super mean, but these ones, not quite as much. We have 6 of them in this tank right now, and I think they're going to be awesome. I'm hoping that they breed for us. That's really the reason why we set this tank up. So hopefully we'll be seeing babies here in the next couple months, but I love the way they look in this tank. We did use a lighter substrate, and that is the Carib Sea cichlid mix. In our fish room, it really doesn't do much to the water parameters because we already have a high pH around 8.2, and our water is pretty hard as it is, between 180 and 200 parts per million, both general hardness and carbonate hardness. So this particular type of substrate doesn't impact our water parameters. Like I said, I like the way this tank turned out. These fish are going to be awesome. Lake Tanganyika fish. I'm hoping what happens is we get some of these to breed. We can add some of them to our 125 Lake Tanganyika setup. I think that would add a little bit of color to that tank, but really interesting fish. All right, everyone, I am really happy with the way these tanks turned out. The 20 long looks pretty darn good. I think Joanna did a good job. I like the rocks, I like the plants. I'm really looking forward to seeing the fish grow, hoping that they breed in that tank. The 125, we've got our old elderly peacock gudgeons in there, the gudgeons are in there, the Spanish rib newts are there as well. We'll probably add some more fish to that tank at some point in the future, but I just want to make sure that all those fish settle in, that they're eating well, they're healthy, they're getting along before we start adding more inhabitants. We have a lot more changes coming up in the fish room. We have a few more tanks that we're going to be updating in the near future. So we're going to be putting videos out about those tanks in the not too distant future. If you enjoyed this video, share, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.